You sound almost like a samurai if you say it. Okay, so one of the things that Japanese learners struggle the most is to understand native speakers. You know a lot of vocabulary and grammar, but you don't understand native speakers. And this is the most frustrating things, right? Why do you think this happens? Well, there are a few reasons. Number one, there's a huge gap between textbook Japanese and the actual Japanese that we actually speak in Japan. So you might have noticed it, but we omit
a lot of
things when we are speaking both formally and casually. There are so many differences between what you learn in a textbook and what you hear in a conversation with Japanese people. Okay, the second reason is that there is also a difference between grammar you learn in a textbook and how we native speakers say it. For example, when you want to say I have to in Japanese, they teach you to say なければなりません。なければなりません。And it's correct, but you sound almost like a samurai if you say it. Well, that's a bit exaggerated, but like if you want to say, I have to go now, and you say, もう行かなければなりません. It sounds almost funny because it's too formal and nobody says that. We would usually say, もう行かないといけません or もう行かなきゃいけません formally, and if you want to say it casually, you can say もう行かなきゃ or もう行かないと. And as you know, formal Japanese and casual Japanese are very different. And I think most of you want to learn Japanese so that you can make friends in Japan, or you want to talk to Japanese people on the street when you're traveling to Japan. And like you might know, when you meet someone for the first time, we would use formal form. But when we become friends, we would usually use casual form. Of course, we would use formal form when we are talking to a stranger because we don't want to be rude. But we also use formal form to keep distance from that person. So if we are just acquaintances and we don't know each other and we are not trying to be friends, we would keep on using formal form. And if that person wants to be friends with you, they would start talking to you in a casual form. And I would totally suggest you to learn how to speak casually if you become friends with someone in Japan, especially people who are interested in learning English or interested in living overseas. They would want to be friends with you, so they would start talking to you casually. I've seen so many cases like that. So you want to know how to speak casually too. And in my course, I focus on casual speech for this reason. Of course, I teach you how to form sentences formally too, and I will make you say things formally too, but mainly you will learn how to make sentences casually. So after finishing this course, you will know how your Japanese friends sound and how to speak casually to friends too. So if you already finished learning Japanese basics with Genki book or other Japanese textbook, this course is gonna be amazing for you because you're gonna be using those knowledge, but also you're gonna be speaking like a native speakers and learning how they actually sound. Okay, from here, I will share tips on how you can improve your Japanese listening skill fast. I use these strategies for my own language learning too. Number one, watch Japanese TV shows. My first recommendations is to watch Terrace House or Ai no Sato, Love Village, and Ainori. Why? Why reality show? Because you learn real Japanese there. Also, in reality show, you learn Japanese cultures, manners, and how they relate to each other and how to read the room like Japanese people. So it's actually Isseki Nicho. Two birds with one stone. And don't just watch it. Of course, if you just watch it, you might get used to hearing Japanese, but I recommend you to watch it with a notebook and a pen and write phrases you would usually use in your own languages. By writing it down, you will remember it more. When you go, oh, I would say this in my own language, I want you to write down the phrase in Japanese and also write the translation in your own language. And here is the important part. You say it out loud as you write it and after you write it. You don't just write it. Say out loud. That way you will remember it fast. You know, sometimes when you try to log in a website, they send you the authentication code to log in and you have to memorize the code, right? And some people just copy and paste, but next time try saying the code out loud and you will remember it so much better than if you just repeat it in your head. And also, saying things out loud helps you practice moving your mouth to speak the language too. When I learned how to speak English, my mouth couldn't move. Like the way my mouth functions when speaking Japanese and the way it moves when speaking in English, it's completely different. And also in Spanish, I had to do like this weird like r sound, like restaurante or guitarra. My point is, depending on the language, the way you move your mouth is quite different, so it will be good practice for you if you say things out loud while writing things down. When you learn a new word, keep on saying things out loud and you will start to notice that you can hear those expressions and vocab that you wrote down in your notebook when you listen to a podcast or when you're talking to your Japanese friends. When you write down, your brain catches better when you hear it. It's like, you weren't conscious of that word before, but now you are, so your brain can catch it. And lastly, I'd strongly suggest to hire a tutor you can talk to consistently. I want you to try to use those words you learn from TV show as much as you can in a conversation. I used to put my notebook on the table when I was taking the lesson, and I was determined to use all the vocabulary I wrote down in the notebook in a conversation, and I was forcing myself to use all the vocabulary so that I would remember it better. Of course, it might be impossible to use all the vocabulary on the list in your notebook, but if you have that intention, you will use a lot actually. And this is important because when you input, it's still not your vocabulary, but when you do output, it becomes your vocabulary. If you keep on using the same word, it becomes natural for you to use it. So that's why writing down is not the end. You have to use them when you're talking to a tutor or Japanese friends. I've been teaching Japanese for 7 years and I've taught so many students, and one of the common things that people who improve Japanese fast do is that they say out loud when I teach a new word. It's almost 100%, and they try to use that vocabulary they just learned right away in a conversation. So try to use this method, it really works. If you can afford a tutor, find yourself a language exchange partner on app like HelloTalk. I used to use this HelloTalk to talk to people on the app. As long as you can get feedback from a native speaker, it's great. You will gain more confidence in speaking and you will get used to making mistakes too. And you panic less in front of a native speakers. Of course, watching a Japanese TV series is good too, but depending on the series, people speak too formally or they use certain expressions that people don't actually use in a real life. But I recently watched 2 series that I think that are good for Japanese learners. They are Rebooting and Hotspot. They are actually made by the same producer, but it's really good for Japanese learners because they use real authentic Japanese and the show is really fun and interesting. So I highly recommend it. You can find it on Netflix. One of the comments I get often from people who finish my course is that they understand native speakers so much more, and also they understand their favorite TV show or their favorite anime so much more after learning with my course. So if you like to have the same result, please join us and learn Japanese with my course. The coupon code is still available, so please use this to save some money if you want to buy the course. This is what people who finish my course say.
今日本の2ヶ月を旅行してます。ミコ先生のオーディオコースにとっても感謝してます。一番いいところはいつでもどこでも聞けることです。家だけでなく運転中、電車の中、ハイキングをしている時でも学べます。
コースの構成は学習者にとって本当によくできています。わからないところは何度でも繰り返して聞けるし、少しずつレベルアップしていくので、無理なく学べます。ミク先生に会えたことに本当に感謝しています。このコースを作ってくれてありがとうございました。
日本での旅行もっと楽しくなりました。乾杯。日本語学んで日本の旅行をもっと楽しみたいなら、ぜひミコ先生のオーディオコースを試してみてください。きっと後悔しませんよ。 Sushi time.
Thank you so much for watching this video until the end. またね。良かったと思った人は登録するのを忘れないでね。Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like to improve your Japanese fast and effectively, please check out my course. Now you can listen to a few sample audios for free on my website, so you can check it out and see how it works. The link is in the description box. じゃあまたね。